Hi everyone, Carmel Sullivan here, Heart to Heart Medium. I'm so excited today because I have one of my besties of all times here, Michelle Moceri. She is my kind of partner in crime in mediumship, I really feel like. She brought me into this world kicking and screaming, and I actually felt like I manifested her in my neighborhood when I moved into Flying Horse. I wished for someone to move in who I could be friends with who had kids. And guess who showed up?
I did.
And this funny thing is, I took it as a sign when I heard her husband's name was Carmelo. How about that?
Exactly. Now I have two Carms in my life, so.
It was a meant to be. And I always believe there is no coincidences. I don't believe there's accidents. I believe they're all meant to be's. So with that, Michelle is an amazing medium, psychic, spiritual healer. I always call her an angelic person because that's how I feel you are. You really are. You get right to the meat of the matter of the whole and the soul. You took me into this world kicking and screaming, even though I wasn't sure I wanted to be here.
But aren't you glad you did?
Oh my God, I am so glad. So when I talk about the person who taught me Reiki, and that's what opened me up at 52, here's the person I owe the favor to. And
you're welcome.
But when we first met, we didn't know who we were, did we?
No. I mean, it's a journey of discovery and trust.
Yeah.
You know, and I find the right people come into your life at the right time, and it's like, so everything lines up. So that's a sign. You
even said when you were moving here to Colorado Springs, you had a focus vision, didn't you, on Flying Horse?
Yeah, it was really interesting. You know, moving from Missouri to Colorado, normally when you move to a new state, you look at all different kind of areas.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was just zoned in on Flying Horse. I was like, okay, this is where we're supposed to be living. And granted, it was before I knew I was really psychic and I had these gifts, because we're all born with it. We all get those nudges along the way. It's about trusting it. So I'm here and you're here, and gosh, 10 or 12 years later.
Isn't that strange?
Yes.
It's been 10 years for me.
Yeah, we're teaching a lot of beautiful students and walking the path, and here we are.
And we get to have a lot of laughter, fun, and aha moments, as always.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's really good to have a friend that gets it.
Oh, you know, because, as a medium, there's a lot of things you carry, don't you think? After a reading, and then you can't talk to anybody, but when you talk to someone who's also been in the business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get those questions a lot of like, am I going crazy, or am I seeing these things? Is this real? Am I, it's a valid question. And, 9 times out of 10, you're not crazy, but maybe 1%.
Well, it's so true because, and the other thing too is that we can banter off each other when we're not sure of a situation we're getting confronted with a client maybe, or with a house. We actually kind of, do a lot of, brain picking, mind picking on like when I have a situation.
We work together, work in tandem, and because the information my spirit guides give me is different from what you get, and then it all kind of it comes together in a great puzzle. So.
I always say 2 medium heads are better than 1.
That's true.
And leading into that one, it's kind of funny because Michelle and she started as a Reiki healer because you were told you were seeing ghosts in your brand new home. Yeah. And it wasn't the home that was haunted, it was really you. And
well, yes.
I told her that. I'm like, I didn't know who I was, but I would say weird things. And that was one of my weird little speculations and validated.
Yeah.
And
it was really interesting. So we moved here and we built a house. 3 months later, weird stuff started to happen. My daughters are like, there's a ghost in my room, and I would hear things, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get a medium in here to kind of figure out what's going on. And I've always been attracted to the paranormal. I always believe in angels and all that good stuff. But so I asked you, do you know a medium? Do you know anybody that can come to my house?
Scratch my head. Yeah, I
do. So you knew people, and long story short, she came to my house and she's like, oh, you and your daughters are psychic mediums, and that's why you're attracting ghosts. And that was, God, that was back in 2009. And here we are 2022. And I just really immersed in it and really trained. And
Well, and that's the thing I loved about you is that when you found out who you were and you accepted it, you really went into the training. And
I dove like 3 years. Like
yeah,
I just dove.
deep
Yes.
dive. And you really, you took classes, you found different teachers. She took me to a teacher that opened me up. And you really did the work. And I think that's one of the most important things I tell my students is a 10,000 hour rule, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's practice, but it's also too, it's trusting your vibes.
Yeah.
And our spirit guides, they do give us signs all the time. It's a matter of just listening.
I think, like you said, too, is trusting is a big word. And also the big thing, too, is if you're going into the healing world or into the medium, we have to heal our own selves before we can be pure conduits, don't you think?
Well, we have to walk our talk.
Yeah.
And many times, light workers especially, we come into this lifetime with a lot of stuff to clear because we have to be of service to others. That's kind of the soul contract, that we did. So our lives get dismantled, things come up.
And they constantly get dismantled too. It's not just one time.
This is layers.
Yeah. Many times so we do struggle as people and as mediums.
Right.
Don't you think? And to be better light workers, we have to clear our stuff. And we have to recognize.
It's taking ownership, and it's, it's working from the heart and not from the ego.
Well, and the other thing too is I find, like we were talking about, is boundaries. Because I struggle with boundaries with my clients in the sense of my time. Because I feel like, I got to help her. Which I do. That's how I am.
Right.
But I give up too much sometimes for me, for my self-care.
Yeah, I mean, it's healthy boundaries. It's, it's also too, it's being that compassionate observer. When we keep a high vibration, when we have our boundaries and our protection, we're at a better vibrational level to be of service to others. When we're in our ego, when we feel like we need to merge with others to fix people, because it's not about fixing people. It's like, it's helping people to get on their journey and their path, but it's all about empowerment because everybody's born with key information. Everybody's born. And everyone says, well, what does it mean to be on a higher vibration or a higher frequency? Well, we are all born with it. It's not something that gets attained from outside of ourselves. It's activating.
Exactly.
It's activating.
Awakening.
Right.
And recognizing when it's time to. And there's so many people opening up right now.
It's beautiful and crazy.
Anxiety ridden.
All at the same time.
So with the journey of being a medium and a psychic and a healer, really, we're healers doing it via word, via our minds, via hands-on healing with bioenergetic therapies.
Exactly.
How do you feel? Like, how do you keep a healthy lifestyle for you to feel like you can do the work? So I think that's one of those important questions.
It's balance. It's balance, we had a couple questions, for people. We put it out there for people to ask us questions. Thank you. So this was one of the questions. It was like, I think it was Samantha. She's like, well, I kind of work a 9 to 5, doing my like 3D kind of job, but she's also being pulled into the spiritual world. So how does she balance that? And it's about trust, number one. I know I keep on saying that. But if you're really meant to go forth in this work, your life will align itself to either that job will just kind of disappear or something will happen.
A shift.
Or, spirit may take your gifts of what you're expanding into and then immerse it into the job where you're at to totally revamp it.
I have to say that's so true because I was in a struggle mode because I have 2 businesses. I do Carm healing, and then I have my Carmel Del Mar sea sponge business. Good news. I've been trying to sell it for a long time, and because I love the business and it has my energy in it, but energy goes where it flows.
Exactly.
And so I'm not putting as much energy into that business, but I have it in a great place, eclectic. Go shop downtown. It's a wonderful store. But I have it being sold. So it's going to free me up to do more of my healing work, which is actually my life passion. And I asked my guides and angels up there, if you want me to keep moving forward in my healing work, I'm asking you to find me someone to buy my business. And I asked a few times, and in comes my lovely Sarah Grant, who runs the Essential Wellness Society. So she
appeared when the timing was right.
And she's kind of the perfect fit. I mean, I'm so excited. So I do believe when you ask, things will happen.
Yeah, and you're in a place that you didn't have any more resistance.
Yeah.
Where before
I did.
It was like, oh, I want to sell this. I don't know. I'm having fun doing it, and people get a lot out of it. And there was like, but I know, again, it goes back to the balance.
Yeah.
Because you felt your life a little bit unbalanced, but you weren't fully ready to let go of that yet. So you had resistance. So when you were truly shifted your energy, then the right person came in.
It's so true.
That's the way it happens.
I mean, it was so funny because when you do have a little grip on something, it won't go away. Sure. Until you fully release it off your hands, out of your heart. It just won't go away. And I'm just so happy about letting it go and giving it to Sarah. And it's funny, there's not much I'm going to miss besides, the people I meet, which I still meet anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they'll always come. I mean, the people that are meant to be in your life, they'll always kind of pop in, whether it's through the store or through something else.
Yeah. So that's a kind of a thing I haven't told anybody. So guess what? Carmel Del Mar is shifting, but it'll still be out in Colorado Springs and other places. So for you've been having a lot of shifts too. You're living in Florida right now.
Yes. Yeah, it's been good. We're by family, and, sometimes moving to a different location, it stirs up different things of like, okay, this is a new chapter. Who am I? What do I need to release? And it's, things crumble. Things that are like are based in lack or fear, or they're not serving your highest good, they will crumble. People get nervous about that, but it's like, it's a good thing when people fall away, jobs fall away, relationships fall away. That means you're growing and you're expanding.
And I always see it as more of a light than a darkness, because what it's allowing you to do is to expand if you accept it as a good thing, not a negative. And it's an opportunity to shift. And sometimes you have to have that opportunity to move you forward.
Right. As my spirit guides say, and I have it in my oracle cards of one of the
cards.
They say it's not a negative situation. It's a necessary one.
Yeah.
It's all on how you look at it. You can look at it from a victimhood consciousness or a creator consciousness.
Right.
Am I going to stay stuck in blame, shame, and guilt? But again, it's honoring what you went through, what you're going through. Listen, I'm angry. Sit with being angry. Why am I angry? Peel back that layer. Gosh, it takes me back to when I was 6.
Right.
Okay, let's go there. It's all about, seeing where the wounds are, looking at them, loving them, sitting with them, and then releasing. And then you'll see all these great opportunities that kind of pop into your life.
Well, and even the words angry, using, when you dig deeper, you find better words that are really meaningful of what you're saying. You may not be angry. You may be the wounded child who wasn't nourished.
Right.
And
right.
So
you may be feeling abandoned in that moment.
And you don't know what you're angry about. So you got to, quiet time. So important. And I think we lack that. Our phones are all our social media. It takes us away from who we really are and enjoyment in the now moment. Right. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's why. I always say too, my spirit guides, they're like nature heals. Go out in nature, get some fresh air, walk, hike, let go of your phone, let go of whatever it is.
Pack it in a drawer in your house. Don't take it with you.
Exactly.
It's kind of weird because you almost feel naked without that phone in your hand. But yet when you get used to letting it go, it feels so much better.
Well, and then if you let go of your phone, and then that leaves room for another something to let go of. You're like, okay, I'm okay without this. What else do I need to really let go of that's either weighing me down?
Tapping into the heart.
Tapping into the heart center.
Yeah.
It's getting back to basics. My spirit guides say it all the time. It's simplicity. It's basics of who you are.
It's funny is because the more you have, the more stuff you carry, the more stuff you have in your house. My house is a little overwrought right now, but it's mostly greenery, kind of. But I feel like the more stuff you have, the more responsibility you have toward that stuff. And it takes you away from who you really are.
And what is the attachment?
Yeah.
What is the attachment to
Why
this
are you
thing?
holding on?
Why are you holding on to it? Yep. Does it represent something of your past? Does it and then is it a negative feeling, or is it a you having resistance of going into a new chapter, but no, I got to hold on to my old self because my old self is more comfortable and other people are comfortable with my old self because we teach people how to treat us. And sometimes when we want to grow and expand into our abilities, which a lot of our students talk about.
Yes.
And then it's interesting, well, the people around them sometimes have a hard time with it.
That's an interesting one because when we do step into mediumship and we're stepping into a different world, and I call it old karm, new karm. A lot of people who knew me in my old life had a hard time accepting me in my new life. And there was judgment for some of the people, curiosity in some, and I lost some friends. And that's okay.
Right. Well, I mean, we're just mirrors for each other.
Yeah.
We reflect back. Sometimes we get triggered and sometimes they reflect back like, oh, yeah, I see myself in her. Mm-hmm. I have that within myself to grow and expand and to love myself on a deeper level.
Well, it's funny because once you do accept who you are and you're not afraid to say who you are, it is so freaking freeing. It is freeing. It's like you want to jump up on the rooftops and yell who you are. And especially when you know it's exactly who you are to the soul.
Yeah. And you know it in your bones.
Yeah. You feel it in your heart. You feel centered. You feel great. It's that joy.
Right.
Inside of you.
Yeah. And I just find too, I mean, we're in a different world. I mean, it really started in 2020. Mm-hmm. Just the shifting and the different, the earth is raising a vibration. We're getting out of the 3D. We're trying to push. So that's why so many people are having such a really hard time with things are coming up into your faces of like, here's what you need to heal. Here's what you need to shift. Because the planet, the universe is like, we don't have time for anymore. We need to shift the consciousness to live in a new earth consciousness, which without fear, there's no separation. It's unconditional love. And I know people are like, well, that's fantasy world, but it's a reality that's we were meant to create.
Well, it's all love in the end. I mean, as mediums, we see the end up there and we see what happens when the souls go up. I really feel if you can look at everything through a love spectrum, loving yourself first, and then judgment, taking the judgment away. It's hard to do that. We do it all the time. There's some focus we have, but taking the judgment away from the people who hurt you or the people who don't accept you. And looking at them in their, I call it the wheelchair, putting them so you can have some compassion.
It's compassion.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not personal.
No, it's not about you. If you can say it's not about me, it's about them, and look at them and see why they're not accepting you. Maybe a deep hurt of them not being accepted for knowing you. Right. Because they're afraid of not being accepted for,
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it too, but with my clients, there's like this root of like a sense of unworthiness. Yes. And then if you can shift that, it's just part of the old programming, the old conditioning of what we were raised with. So we're really being asked to chip away. But it all of this boils down to if you feel worthy or not.
It's replacing the soil
or whatever. Yeah.
It's replacing the old soil that is not nourishing you and that wasn't the correct soil to begin with, is what I feel like, and putting in the soil that was exactly who you were. Like in a pot, if you're potting plants. When you have old soil, guess what? Nothing grows. You just wither and die, and it's not who you really were.
Or just really exists. It's just sitting there. There's no growth going on. So
it's funny. Tell me a funny story in mediumship.
Oh my gosh.
We always got a few quirky stories.
I mean, there's so many unique, interesting stories with, how spirit chooses to come through, to give us messages. And, sometimes they wake me up at 3:00 in the morning, telling me their names or showing me things, or or they're in the bathroom with me as I'm getting ready. And,
Oh my
I
gosh.
think that's another question too, where people ask, oh my God, do they see, does my grandfather see me shower naked? Or do they see me,
I don't think they see you in that light. They see you, just you, your soul. I never worry about it. Do you?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can't worry about it. I mean,
No.
it is what it is,
It's so funny because, when you do know there's someone there, like, hey, I'm not working right now. I'm busy. I'm showering. Sometimes people come early when I'm working with somebody else. I'm like, I know you're for the next person, so you need to go sit down over there.
I know.
Had that happen once. I was laughing. I'm like, oh, these are not for you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's with discernment and then the boundaries, because, our loved ones and spirits are, their consciousnesses where we're like, listen, you got to hold off or you're not here today. It's just like as if they were right here talking to a regular person.
It is. It feels like a regular conversation. You just have it in your head more or less with the person. Right. Don't you think? That's how I do it. It's like, okay, okay, see ya.
Yeah. And I just love how spirit like arranges things. Like, with my clients and different things. They're like, well, it's so interesting that, it's the only date you have open because it's the date of my husband's birthday or it's the anniversary or, whatever. So it's just
no coincidences here again.
Comes into play. So they do work hard for us on the other side, to give us signs, to make sure that they know that they're loved and watched over.
What cracks me up is like we got to go to Journey last night, which was really fun.
The concert, yeah.
But, it was funny because some of the comments in the car is like, I'm always afraid I'm going to hear a bad message. And I'm like, there really are no bad messages. When
I think people fear that if they come to a psychic medium, they're going to say, oh my gosh, there's a curse on you or you're going to die next week or don't get in,
Yeah.
And that's just not how we work.
No. It's of light and love, and it's always positive.
It's using discernment. It's like what we recommend, is if a person recommends a psychic medium to you that they've had a good experience. Don't just go online or whatever.
Don't go. Yeah. Choose your medium well. Know yourself well and know your medium better is what I say.
Exactly.
Because the alignment for the person you're working with is important, and I feel like. The people who are put in front of you are put in front of you for a reason. Either you have a connection to their hurt, you've experienced it yourself.
Absolutely.
Or I had a weird one where my father-in-law came through in a reading for somebody else whose spirits were already there. He knew them in life.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So they're connected just as much up there as we are down here. And so with that, you have to honor all the nuances and the things you get coming in,
Yeah. I mean, as we said earlier, listen and see the signs.
I always ask for signs from my loved ones too. Like, hey, I'm trying to move my brother right now. And I asked for signs from my parents. Like, hey, we need your help. My sister was having pennies thrown at her feet for days on end because she was doing most of the work. And then I started finding pennies. So it was really cute because I feel that's pennies from heaven.
Right.
They're signs from me to tell me, hey, we're working with you. And they really are. They help us. And they can even kind of manipulate, move or some things, don't you think?
Yeah.
In this world.
Yeah, no times. Absolutely. I mean, the signs too, especially from our spirit guides, it's all in alignment to let us know we're on the right path. If you get deja vu, I'll never forget this. I don't know if you remember this story, but when we first met and things started to, open up for me and stuff. And then I'm in my house and I got the overwhelming smell of stargazer lilies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
it's been a while.
Do. Yeah.
So I'm in and in my house, there's no flowers at all. And I don't wear the perfume and all. I was like, why am I smelling stargazer lilies? And then you call me, you're like, hey, why don't you come on over? And I come on over and then I know there's stargazer lilies right here.
I love stargazer lilies, by the way. It's my favorite
good.
Flower.
And then I walk into Carm's house and there's stargazer, like smelling. Like I walk in, I'm like, and then you're like, oh yeah, I wanted to show you. I have this oracle deck from Sonia Choquette. The guides one.
Yes.
Right. I got goosebumps just thinking about that.
I think I gave it to you to use because we were just beginning.
Oh, yeah, we're just kind of opening up. So it's just like a sign for my spirit guides of like, you're on the right track. It's like, here's the smell, follow the smell.
Follow your nose.
Right.
But it's so true because if you really open up to those aha moments and know they're really ahas.
Right. No, your imagination, they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you smell your grandfather and he had a special type of pipe, guess what? Grandpa's there. Just talk to him.
Exactly.
They want you to know they're watching over you. So in readings, I always ask them, like, bring the evidence. I need to have something that I don't know about Grandpa. Right. You know, or, you know, what does he want? Dad, what do you want to bring your daughters? What do you want to bring your wife? What do you want to say to them? What's important? Not just, I love you. Mm-hmm. Give us more.
Oh, it's got to be evidential.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah. You know, the fluffy readers, and I'm not putting anybody down, but you'll get, oh, Grandma loves you. She, you know, has her apron on.
And I mean, that's part of the message.
Yes, but it's like, not.
You know, you need to take that a step.
A next further step.
Right.
Bring in information. You may, you know, it's funny because then you may even say a sentence that you would never say in life, but.
Or even your voice may change. You may take on the person's mannerisms.
Yes, your hands may like start doing something weird that you don't normally do, or you play with your hair.
Oh yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, like, why am I doing this? This isn't normal. Do you understand this?
Yeah. You know, for students of mediumship, you know, it's going that step further. Mm-hmm. You know, and not just rely, because the fluff is your ego.
Yes.
Trying to like, see, I'm right? You know, because love. Okay, that's great. He loves me.
Dig deep.
Yeah, and it's amazing the transformation that can happen with people when they're when you give them evidence, when they know there's no way that you could have known that. Where I get that a lot. They're like, no one knows that. No one, how do you know that? You're because your loved one did a fantastic job.
You're like, kudos up there.
I'm just a puppet from which it travels. But it's amazing. This work can be life-changing. But it's finding mediums that are all based in light and heart-centered, that are here about healing. And that's it.
Well, you know, it's so important. And I will say, too, as I do think the people up there are attracted to who you bring in. Like people will talk to you because they like you as a medium up here. They'll go, oh, we like her energy. We'll talk to her.
Right. It's all a resonance.
Because we have to go up. So people are going, oh, what do you mean when you go up? So to describe that work is we have to go up to almost floor 10, I call it. It's a high area up here. And we're taking our energy and our minds up to a level 10 and staying up here and inviting their loved ones in. They're already so excited usually to be invited. So they're lining up. And as they come in, you are having, like I call it a mic. So you only allow usually one person to talk, but sometimes they get a little overzealous. I've had that happen. And we're meeting in the middle. So medium, middle, medium. That's where they kind of get that word. And you know, it's funny, is in England, mediums are normal in the sense of, I call it normal. They're very accepted.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like the birthplace of the mediumship and the spiritualist community over there.
Where here, it's like, oh, either people lean in or they lean out because I think they have fear around it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I went to England, you know, to study. And it was, you know, I just totally immersed myself.
That's why, I 10,000 hour rule. You've got to do the work.
You know, it's, you know, it's also too, it's, you know, it's advice and just surrounding yourself with people who you want to learn from, what resonates with. You know, in the beginning, I loved Lisa Williams.
Oh, she's
so I read all of her books. I studied, you know, her film. She had a show. I just really resonated with her. And then my spirit guides made it happen that I came face to face with her.
You got to meet.
I ate, you know, across from her. We ended up at this vow renewal of a mutual friend, and I didn't know she was friends with her. And it's just so interesting how we put out the intention of growth and expansion, and where we resonate, and then all these beautiful gifts come from it. It's like wow, I'm so glad I listened.
Gratitude is huge too. You have to thank them I always thank my clients for coming down, and also thank my workers up there who help me, all my guides and angels. But
absolutely,
it's so funny because manifestation is huge. If you ask, they might It
Well,
might
it's the
show
law of
up.
attraction,
Yeah.
but also it can work both ways.
Yes.
If you're working from a lower frequency, maybe from ego, like, oh, I want all this money and car, so I'll have friends, or so I'll get a girlfriend or a wife or a boyfriend, that's coming from ego and lack. So you may attract some of that same kind of frequency. But if it comes from gratitude of like you've already are thanking the universe from already having this, it's like because you are worthy. There's that worthiness word.
I love that word.
And then I always say, Spirit, if this is in my alignment of my highest growth and good, I'm thankful for this, all the abundance of what it is, whatever that is, career or family connection.
Or even show me a path that I'm supposed to be on and make it clear that I know it's my path, meaning please give me the signs that I should move in that direction.
Right.
Because sometimes I'm not seeing clearly.
Yeah. And there's also branches off the road that we need to experience that we kind of signed up karmically.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I feel like, or you'd be like, wow, I'm down this road, but okay, man, I'm getting a lot of lessons. I'm feeling a lot of, it's hard. Like as my spirit guide said before, like it's not a negative situation. It's a necessary one.
It's funny. I was telling one of my clients today, I was talking to her this morning and she was going through a rough patch. And I said, you signed up for a really hard life this time. Maybe you're going to grow your soul 2 times in this life. And just be open to all the things that you're working through right now because you're going to feel so much better.
Right. And it's not about punishment.
No, it's not.
Again, people in life is hard. Listen, everybody has a story that will break your heart. So many of us have been through the ringer. It's how we choose to perceive it and look at it from a soul's perspective. Correct. Of like, okay, I attracted much of this before I even incarnated. Because here's the lessons and the tools that I needed, to evolve. Okay, now I can empower myself with that.
Yeah.
And move forward and expand. Again, am I being a victimhood in this, but a victimhood consciousness, or am I being a creator?
Well, I love that because victims usually are, to me, are angry. The victims I meet are angry and they're finger pointers. So they're looking for everybody but themselves until you go inside yourself and look at, okay, what do I own here? What's this? How is this affecting me? What is this about me? And, I find once you can shift, it just changes you so completely. It frees you.
It really does. And it's shifting out of judgment and the punishment. Again, that's part of the old programming, old conditioning, what we were raised with.
Putting our love glasses on.
It's like, no, it's not about that. It's about the purity of who you are. Not have judgment. It's like, yes, we all have a past, and it's about, letting it go. I see the lessons within it, and I don't want to stay in the past of punishment. I need, because spirit, the higher consciousness is vibration of where we're at. We're being offered a clean slate.
Every day.
Offered a clean slate, but it's a matter of walking into it. And then if you're not walking into it, it's like, okay, there's a part of resistance or unworthiness that's still going on that I don't feel I'm not ready for this or I don't deserve it.
It's funny what you say about that because I was listening to Tony Robbins the other day. Great book he has out, by the way, called Life Force. Has a lot of interesting information on it. I love books. So he talks about past, present, future, which I believe we all have to live in the present moment. He says the people who live in the past are the most depressed people. And if you think about it, you can't fix the past, but you're dwelling in it. So you're living in depression, dwelling depression. He goes, the people who live in the future, worry future, they're usually drivers who are trying to affect everything and have no control. So they're living in anxiety world.
Right.
So I always ask my clients, where are you today? Are you in the present moment?
Check in with yourself.
Every day, every minute, anxiety, you must be living in the future. Tell me about it. What can you affect? And the 6-foot barrier around you. That's what I have to come back to every day. When I feel out of control or I can't control something, I'm going to have to let it go because it's out of my control. So I put my feet downstream and say, okay, God, Jesus, take me and guide me. I'm just going to go ahead and I'll find the banks when I can, the land bank, and I'll survive.
Right.
Yeah, letting go.
It gets down to attachments.
Think about
it. We are attached as humans to a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, we're attached to our spouses or boyfriends, girlfriends, of thinking like it's their job to fulfill us, or they have a certain role or label that was agreed upon in a fear lack condition of that relationship, whether it was consciously or unconscious. And then as we're moving into these higher vibrations, those relationships will not last. They're being asked to be dismantled, to be rebuilt, if it's meant to be rebuilt in such a high vibrational way where there's no ownership of people, there's no control of people.
Exactly.
Where we accept people for each other for who we are.
And you're not trying to change anybody.
You're not trying to,
you're just in your being as yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And those relationships that cannot shift in a high vibrational way, they will be dismantled, and it's okay to let them go. It's hard, but sometimes that has to happen to have new growth, new job, or new relationships to come in.
And the only thing is, I always say to that is, if you don't do the work on yourself in that relationship of what happened, you will attract the next same person again.
Exactly. To your point, like, what's the pattern? Is there a pattern here?
Look at your patterning and where did it start?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, this is what I always say, I am not a counselor. I'm a spiritual advisor.
Sure.
I always send my clients when I know they need help. I have great counselors I recommend.
Oh, absolutely. It takes a village, right?
It does. We work more in the spiritual side of it and talk about spirit, but there's some great counselors who help I work with who,
right.
I work in one side, they work in the mind side, I work in the body, mind, spirit side.
Right. And I tell people, I say I do spiritual counseling as it relates to your soul path, like everything soul of what your spirit guides are giving me to share with you. I can counsel in that way through your team.
Yes.
But no, I don't have a degree in psychology. It's, I've done a lot of classes and work with it, but to your point, we're here to coach and counsel as it relates to things all spiritual and
all spiritual. So today, what would you tell somebody? What would be a key thing that you would tell a person today who's in the world, like how to walk a happy life, maybe? What would you say?
Well, I think people need to have, really honest conversations with themselves.
I love that what you say, because we are our worst judges.
We are.
We have our mind going on 24/7, judging, comparing,
right,
competing, all these words.
Yeah.
Am I just as good as her? Why can't you just be
That's
you?
attachment stuff. That's old. That's fear-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's asking yourself those honest conversations of like, am I truly happy where I'm at in my life right now?
What do I need to change?
And then listen intuitively to your heart center, like, what's the answer to that? Well, maybe the answer is, well, I'm not truly happy. Okay, let's delve a little bit deeper. Are you doing the work you feel you're meant to do in this world? Well, no, kinda. Well, let's, you know what I mean? It's just a layering, and then you build on from there. But it all comes down to honesty.
And reflection of who you are, and letting go of all the filters.
Right, exactly.
In
other people's projections.
Yeah, and the expectations.
Yes, totally.
Well, it's funny because life is, like you said, life isn't easy.
No.
And we come into this world to be challenged, to grow, to love, and also to hurt. Because without pain, there is no gain. When you exercise,
you have to feel
you got to feel your muscles hurt a little bit, don't you? To know that you're affecting them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally, it's, as my spirit guides, and I've read other places too, where they say, Earth is one of the hardest planets to be on.
Life school Earth.
Yes.
Sign me up. Let me get my whole life vest on. And it's really heavy.
It's really heavy. But, on the other side of that, to be on this planet right now through all this transformation into the new age of Aquarius, to witness it and to be, a very humbled, gracious light worker to help people see their own worth and their own, own empowerment, because it's all about shifting the collective to raise consciousness. So when we're all in our path, doing what we're supposed to be doing, like energetically, letting go of the old, it shifts the planet.
It makes everybody, it's attraction, the law of attraction again. When someone is around you who's light and loving, guess what? You want to go around to see them. You don't want to be at the angry person's table. You want to be at the person's table who's laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you can let go and live in, like I call it living in the heart center, got a class coming up.
Yes.
Your magnet of your heart, you attract people all the time when
Absolutely.
you can clear. And that's the thing I love about living in the heart, is because I feel like I'm a magnet of my own being, because I feel like people are attracted to me. Even at the grocery store, people will talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also an imprint of a healer.
Yes.
You know, when people, students, they're like, yeah, I seem to attract a lot of people that just kind of dump everything on me, and I'm not sure what to say, or, you know, and then it's like, well, you're here to help heal. So what does that look like for you? What is it within yourself that you feel like you
What's
need
your
to heal
talent?
first, but also
Yeah.
what your talent is? And when one of the questions were, they wanted more advice with the clairs. You know, of how do you fine tune like each clair? You know, when I say by clair, so you go ahead and explain the whole clairs.
There's 7 clairs. I'm a clair cognitive primarily. That's where I kind of started with. Clair cognitive is when you just know things. People ask me.
It's like a clear knowing, or just
clear knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Clear means clear. So when you see clairvoyancy, what they're saying is clear seeing. So people see maybe movies in their heads,
right,
or they see writing on the wall. So they see visions. And that's clairvoyancy. You have clairgustance, clear smelling. You have clairaudient, where you hear clear hearing. You may hear it here. You may hear people speaking. I sometimes hear it in my ear, like a clear voice coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, mostly it's your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
But you know it's not your information.
Well,
and that's how it can be confusing sometimes.
All mediums perceive differently. We all work at a different level and with our gifts. And some people work fast, some people work slow, some people work via clear empathic. And that's another whole thing, clear feeling. There's also, oh my gosh, clairsentient, which is another way of clear feeling, but you're feeling body and pain.
Right.
Clear empathic kind of feels more the emotional pulls, like what they're feeling, where clairsentient, you're feeling like, God, my hip hurts. Why my hip hurt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes,
and it goes away immediately. Where clear empath might carry that pain of somebody else, their heart pain, all the way home, and carry it for weeks, months, if they don't know it's not theirs.
Right. It can be really unhealthy.
Exactly.
You know, that's why we teach people protection and boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every morning when I wake up, I do a little short meditation, and then later I do longer ones if I feel guided. But again, it's that pressure too of like, oh, like to meditate, do I need to do it like an hour or 3 hours a day? Go with what you're guided.
Even if it start out with 5 minutes, if it feels overwhelming, and don't judge your meditation. Everybody judges. I had so much in my head, couldn't get it out. You know what? Really, what happens is meditation is something you learn slowly. It's a muscle, I believe.
Right. And I always say too, is like, start out with just like deep breathing,
and
just
meditation.
to feel into your body.
Yeah.
Guided meditation is fantastic.
I think breathing is the essence of letting go of all anxiety, even clarity. When I get uptight and like say somebody's sitting in front of me and they're asking me a question, you're going to see me take a big breath in because I want to go up a little higher and ask. Right. Or I need to let go of something else I had in me to get that question answered. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, if you do feel a pull that you have intuitive powers, I do teach intuitive training. Michelle, I think, does it with her cards too.
Yeah, I'm going to be teaching online classes as well. But, you know, I miss being in the Springs and teaching, but I'm glad you're here, you know, to bring people in person, which is really good. But yeah, I mean, you know, to go back with the question about the clairs, because it was like, how do you like fine tune each one, just like real quickly, you know, to fine tune your clairvoyance, again, in meditation, and I have like a flame or an object that I visualize outside of my third eye, bring it in, I bring it out. It's like exercising
muscle,
and seeing the detail. Or with, more of the psychic stuff too, it's like, okay, I'm going to think about and put my attention out to this one friend or this one person, and then see if that person calls you or all of a sudden feels like, oh, I've been thinking about you. So it's just like exercising those little things to strengthen your spiritual gifts, because everybody's born with it.
Everybody is, and you all come in with everybody has a specific clair that works best for them, and then you identify
a
that
dominant one, yeah.
And then what you do is they all come in slowly, and some faster than others, and they show up, and you have to acknowledge, okay, what was that? That just happened. Wow,
and
that
trust
was
it.
new. And trust it. It's amazing what happens when you're open. And you're aware, and there's lots of different exercises you can do to identify how you learn, or how you
spirit
intuit best.
Yeah, how you intuit
best.
You.
Yeah. Sometimes you just, like me, I just know. I just don't know how I know.
It's a claircognizant.
Yeah.
I just know.
Yeah, and it's funny because some people are great clairvoyants. And everybody, like I said, they see even their clairvoyant is different. Some people actually do see movies.
Yeah.
Some people describe a chalkboard being moved across, some people.
I just get like flashes of pictures or faces.
And my clairvoyance now has been, sometimes I get a movie, sometimes I get like pictures, sometimes I get, it kind of comes in slowly like an old fashioned movie.
I love that.
It's weird. And the colors are different. That's a new one that's been coming in.
Yeah, it's also being aware. Spirit works in symbols. If they want to get the message across quickly, they give me a symbol where instead of trying to convey a feeling or something which takes longer,
yes,
my spirit guides are like, okay, I know when I shake keys in front of Michelle, that means a new house,
correct,
or a new car. Or instead of them trying to explain, you know what I mean? So just, for those, training and wanting to develop more, it's just be mindful of your symbols, because they will use your memories, your experiences to help you identify. For an example, sometimes when I'm reading somebody and then my brother's face pops in, and then I know that person or the person that they're with is a lot like my brother. So I quickly understand that. They're like, oh yeah,
That's I get that too. Or a name. I see this person's, is it a name? Or is it their hand? Like my dad's face will come in. Is it William or is it Andy Dandy?
That you do it. Okay.
So, but I guess we're fine tuning. Unfortunately, it went by really quick, our time, didn't it?
It really did.
So Michelle, why don't you talk about what you're doing with your
So
yes, we want to do a little promo.
So this is my key oracle deck.
It's amazing.
Yes, and I do have a workbook journal. I forgot to grab that, but it goes hand in hand. But yeah, I mean, it's the premise. The premise is the key, which we all are born with key knowledge. It's about unlocking that knowledge that we already are born with. So it's a 44 card deck. So how Spirit had me design it. So the blue hues are the challenges that we need to heal, shift, or release, things that are, we're resistant to, or things that are holding us back. And then we have the beautiful opportunities that are available once we do, because our spirit guides, they want us to do the work, but they also want us to see the great things we can manifest, or the opportunities that can come through it once we do. So people love this deck. People use it to read other people, but mostly to do the work themselves. And then in the workbook journal, it explains of how to do that program.
If you're looking at tuning into yourself, it's a great way to tune into yourself and how to release a lot of the things that you may not even know you're carrying. It's so spot on when I use it, especially when I have a client that really I'm struggling with. I always pull a card from your challenge deck, and it's always spot on.
Yeah.
So highly recommend it. I've been selling them for Michelle here,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, I love it because I use it. So if I believe in it, it's easy to say, please look at this.
Yeah, so. It's all channeled information. So it's all like over the years. all those great nuggets of truth, as now they're in these cards, and that's why people resonate with them so much. So yeah, and I'm going to do a special.
Ding, 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 ding.
So for the next 5 days, if you message me, text me with code word podcast, you will, if you want to buy my deck, and then I will give you a free journal.
I love that.
That's my special for the podcast. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Michelle, I am so glad you came and did this today. I know.
Me too.
You know, it's just fun to sit. You know, we sit and talk anyway.
This
so this
is like
kind of an open discussion. I do want to promote this too. I have a Courageous Heart workshop coming up. What I have been finding is I talk about the heart a lot, heart to heart medium. It's all about coming from the heart center. And we're going to be, Staley and me are going to be offering this class. We're putting it together now. We're going to be bringing a whole bunch of different people's ideas of how to live a better life in the heart. We're compiling them together, bringing energy exercises along with our own intuitive abilities, and helping you tune into your own heart, how to live in the heart center, and how to manifest your greatest destiny. It's letting go of the anxiety you may be carrying now. It's teaching you what it is, who it is. It's being the calm in the storm, how to be that person. It's also being able to attract what you need. And it's letting go of all the past paradigms you've carried and that have not been serving you. You don't know it, or you do know it, but you're not facing it. So it's a 4-class teaching. It's going to be 2 nights live, or 1 whole day live, and it's going to be 1 nighttime. The 17th of May it starts. It's on my webpage. We're going to have 2 Zooms after that. They're going to be thoughtful classes for you to dig deep into your heart and to shift. And I welcome you all to come to this class. It's going to be life-changing. And I can't wait. I'm still putting it together, and I keep getting a lot of download.
It would be good.
Yeah.
It would be really good. A lot of it's what we were just kind of talking about.
Letting go.
Yeah.
Putting our new rose color, we're taking off our rose colored glasses and putting our heart glasses on. And living in the heart is not for the weak of heart.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So with that, Michelle, thank you. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Yeah, I'm so glad we met. And I know it was never by accident.
Never by accident.
We both manifested Flying Horse. So
we did.
On that note, we'll have more podcasts coming. This is Carm. Peace out.